The disappearance of 9-year-old Fusako Sano attracted a lot of attention from the public in Japan. The police, rescuers, social services, and many volunteers tried to find the fourth grader, but without success. After 9 years, the girl was discovered completely by accident. It turned out that all this time she had been living 50 kilometers away from home, in the room of her abductor. Fusako Sano was originally from the city of Sanjo, which is only a couple of hours' drive from Tokyo. She lived with her parents, 2 older sisters, younger sister, grandmother and grandfather in a large house. However, in 1990 tragedy struck. 9-year-old Fusako disappeared, and her fate remained unknown. On November 13, 1990, Fusako stayed after school to watch her classmates play softball, and she only went home around 5 in the evening, when the sun was setting and the streets were beginning to grow dark. Fusako was last seen at the school stadium. When Fusako, a 4th grade student, did not return home until 6 or even 7 o'clock in the evening, her parents began to worry. They decided to ask their neighbors if she could be with any of her friends, and then called the police. The next day, extensive searches were conducted in the city. Rescuers checked neighborhoods from a helicopter, the police used search dogs, firefighters checked abandoned buildings, and neighbors and teachers scoured the area. During the search, the Sandio Parent Committee Federation discovered dangerous areas on the roads leading to the city's 22 schools, filed a complaint, and demanded improved safety measures. On the second day, a special task force was formed to investigate the girl's disappearance. It included 107 people, including a mobile investigative group, police officers, and prefectural staff. Over 2,000 posters with the girl's photo were placed around the city and its surroundings, and over 20,000 announcements were sent to other prefectures. Approximately 100 local men with past child-related offenses were questioned, but with no results. Ultimately, the investigation began to explore the theory of the girl being abducted by North Korean intelligence agencies, although there was no evidence to support this. At that time, similar cases were happening in Japan, but only with children from wealthy and influential families. It was only almost 10 years later that it became known that 28-year-old Nobuyuki Sato kidnapped a girl on her way home. He admitted that it was a random act, not planned in advance. He simply saw a nice girl with no one nearby, and decided to act. Nobuyuki stopped the car, approached the girl, threatening her with a knife, and ordered her to remain silent. Within seconds, frightened Fusako was in the trunk, bound and blindfolded. The girl's life changed overnight when the kidnapper brought her to a neighboring town to his home, where he lived with his mother. Nobuyuki Sato parked near the outbuilding to avoid drawing attention, and led the girl through the back door to his room on the 2nd floor. He then tied Fusako to the railing of the window frame, returned to the car, parked it near the porch, and walked through the main entrance of the house as if nothing had happened. During the first 3 months of captivity, Fusako Sano was bound with tape so that she could not escape. Nobuyuki Sato struck her violently with his fists, threatened her with electroshock and knife scars, to subdue her will. He convinced her that she could not leave and had to stay under his control, obeying all his orders. To fully subdue her, he did not allow her to even look at the door when he entered or exited the room. When the kidnapper realized that his threats were effective and Fusako was not resisting, he stopped tying her hands, but her feet remained tied for almost the entire first year, which led to muscle atrophy and rendered her unable to stand and walk without assistance. To weaken the girl, Nobuyuki fed her the same ready-made meals from the store, initially twice a day and then only once. Within 3 to 4 months, Fusako lost 8 kilograms and fainted every day. The child's health quickly deteriorated due to malnutrition and some hygiene issues. During her captivity, Fusako Sano only took a shower once because there was no access to water, and she was not often allowed to change clothes. She took a shower only once, when she fell off the bed and was covered in dust. She also did not have access to a toilet, so she had to use plastic bags for her needs. Some sources claim that even the kidnapper used bags for the same reason: germophobia. For many years, Fusako Sano's case remained unsolved in the prefecture until she was found by sanitation workers. In 1999, Nobuyuki Sato's mental state deteriorated. He began using a taser against his mother, beating her, tying her up, and not allowing her to use the bathroom. The elderly woman decided to complain about her son to her treating doctor, who suggested she go to a psychiatric clinic. In January 2000, employees of the Public Health Center and representatives of the social service came to the house to talk to Nobuyuki Sato and make a medical conclusion. However, the man did not come out of his room and refused to answer questions. He was only found 9 days later when his mother again turned to the psychiatric clinic. 5 employees arrived, who, threatening forced hospitalization, entered the second floor of the house. At first, Nobuyuki Sato was calm and answered questions, but when offered to go to the clinic, he suddenly became agitated and started shouting. Under a blanket on the couch, the exhausted and dirty Fusako Sano was found. Surprised doctors asked Nobuyuki's mother if she knew the girl, to which she replied that she was seeing her for the first time and hadn't been in that room for many years. Fusako Sano was brought to the police station from the scene of the incident, while Nobuyuki Sato was hospitalized and his legal status was changed from a suspect to a criminal after several weeks of staying in the clinic. Eventually, he was arrested and sent to prison. Fusako Sano was not a victim of sexual violence. During questioning, Nobuyuki admitted that he kidnapped the girl so he would have someone to talk to, someone he considered a friend and with whom he did not feel lonely. The man taught the girl following the school curriculum, sometimes letting her listen to the radio and read comics, discussing news with her and having conversations on topics that interested him. They often talked about cars and horse races. Even Fusako had a task of recording horse racing broadcasts on cassettes. After Fusako was released, she underwent an intelligence test, which showed that her vocabulary and knowledge level did not differ from her peers. In court, Nobuyuki Sato's lawyer even tried to use this fact to mitigate the sentence, but the judge rejected his request. Psychiatrists recognized that Sato was sane, despite his mental health issues, as he was aware of his illegal actions. The jury unanimously found him guilty on all charges. Nobuyuki Sato was sentenced to 14 years in prison, the maximum possible term in his case. In 2015, he was released, but in 2017 he was found dead in the apartment provided to him due to disability. It should be noted that after his release, he lived in complete solitude and never visited his mother, who lived in a nursing home. After being rescued, Fusako Sano spent some time in a rehabilitation center and then returned to her family. She avoided interviews, but some Japanese media reported that she got her driver's license, became interested in photography, and sometimes attends local football matches.